Okay, good morning and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folani. Today is what lawyers refer to as the day set for hearing notice in the Federal High Court in Abuja, talking about Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of the proscribed IPOB. And so we'll look at that. The last time he was expected to appear in court, it didn't happen. Authorities cited logistic issues, but today it's going to happen because we've heard that the security is very, very intense. The police, army, DSS, they're all in evidence. Lawyers, staff of the Federal High Court, journalists are all being barred from entering into the premises until they have cleared themselves that they need to be there. Okay, to look at this with me, Smart Oluwoye Apejoye, political affairs analyst, is here. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Thank you very much
for having me.
Our pleasure, political affairs analyst, and right next to him is, well, it's next to me, but you know what I mean, is Mr. Jide Ologun, public affairs analyst and lawyer. So let me start off with you. Which one is hearing notice? I mean, I'm just curious. I know it's not very, very important because we're expecting Nnamdi Kanu to be in court today. When you lawyers talk about hearing notice, the federal government, you know, amended its 7-count charge last week. Tell us about this hearing notice business.
You know, that the last time he was supposed to be in court, he could not come because of logistic challenges, according to the government.
He could not come, or they couldn't bring him.
I'm using general language now, so okay. The government claimed.
Don't like general language, though. You know.
But we are,
he could not come, or they could not bring him.
Okay, they could not bring him to court.
Okay.
Due to the fact that there were logistic challenges, and my position then was that that wasn't the best of explanations, because the judge could have said, okay, what kind of logistic challenges do you have? Has it to do with transportation? Then get one of my Hilux vans and make sure he's in court. And today now he's in court and the charges against him have been amended. So I think right now the government has to step up and quickly, you know, fix a time for the prosecution of the man, because in the criminal justice value chain.
You use the word prosecution because ordinarily I would have said the trial begins today, but you're using words like prosecution. Newspapers are using like words like hearing notice. So look,
in criminal justice value chain is prosecution. So,
oh, okay.
Exactly.
That's so, part of what is happening today.
Exactly. And before you can have prosecution, there must be thorough investigation. And the third expectation for justice is that we have a committed judiciary. So the court will now have to fix a time to commence the prosecution, because, and don't forget that the charges against him have been amended. And of course, as we speak right now, under the Constitution, he's still presumed innocent.
Of course.
Until those allegations against him have been proved beyond all reasonable doubt.
It virtually goes without saying. I mean, we've been around you lawyers long enough to understand that that is the point of view of the law. So, Smart, now he will come. We've heard about why he was not able to come. But in coming today, again, you know, touch wood, you never can tell, but in coming today, as I was observing, it's reported all over that a combined team of the police, the army, the DSS, they're all in attendance around that whole place. And then there's this 7-count amended charge that the federal government put out last. How do you see all of this against the backdrop of not coming the last time?
You see, not coming the last time is just because they didn't put their house in order. That is the DSS that is prosecuting on behalf of the federal government. One, I thought by now we probably should be getting closer to concluding the case of Nnamdi Kanu, because ab initio,
here we are just beginning.
Because this guy is not facing fresh count charges. Maybe the fresh ones that will probably have been added to what was on ground was that because of the fact that he jumped bail, was because of the fact that he breached all the laid down bail's condition. Those probably could have been the additional charges, because the charges were there initially. Having said that, what do we do as a nation? How do we move forward? Is to dispense this issue quickly. It must not be, I don't believe in finding political solution to it. That is, as far as I'm concerned, as it is, the case must go on. And again, the judges handling the case, or the judge handling the case, must ensure that at least they give accelerated hearing. Now again, we are unnecessarily giving a larger image to this, to Nnamdi Kanu. When you will bring all the DSS, you will bring police, you will bring army, you will bring...
There's tight security
what is this
around the Federal High Court.
You see, there are some things you could just create and people will go in and come in. Your security in place. Why must it be with all this paraphernalia of security guys, even wedding guns, as if would they come and hijack him there? All they could have just done is that put some things in place. We should stop wasting too much of our energy on this case of Nnamdi Kanu.
Okay, let me also say good morning to and welcome Barrister Fred Okey Nzeakor. He's joining us via Zoom. Good morning, Fred.
Good morning, Yori, and good morning to my dear colleagues there in the studio.
Indeed.
Good morning to our dear viewers and all Nigerians, wherever they are. I am glad to be with you.
Okay, so Nnamdi Kanu, you know, will be in court today, effectively to commence, as we've just heard from your brother lawyer, effectively to commence the whole matter of the criminal prosecution. We've also noted, the country has noted that combined team of the police, army, DSS, they're in evidence. There's very, very tight security. Staff of the Federal High Court, journalists, even lawyers are being screened. Give me your impressions.
Yori, this is after 11. The court normally sits from 9 a.m. It is expected that by now, Mr. Kanu, Nnamdi Kanu would have been in court by now. And if he's not yet in court, it is a failure of the system that has not brought him to court by now. The judge is expected to be in court by now, dispensing justice. So if he has not been brought to court, it will raise a lot of apprehension because the last time he was supposed to be in court, people waited in court to no avail, and at the end of the day, he was not brought to court. By now, we expected that he should have been in court. I am not in Abuja. I'm not in the Federal High Court premises to know whether he is there. And
we will
it's expected
know
that
as soon as he arrives.
You journalists would know as soon as he arrives. But the point I'm making is that if by after 11 he has not come, they are raising unnecessarily the adrenaline of the people who anticipated to have seen him in court by now.
Okay.
This is a mere trial, and why I say by mere.
Oh, okay. I was going to ask about that. There's nothing mere about this. It's a very, very serious charges.
What I say by mere is that it is we are not reinventing the wheel. The judicial system is not new to a trial like this, except if the government is giving it a different impression, a different connotation, or a different tag. If it is the regular judicial trial or criminal trial, it can be taken to be a mere trial.
How do you take, I beg your pardon for interrupting you, Fred. How do you take the federal government's amended 7-count charge? Charges, 7-count charges, I mean, whatever, you get it. How do you take that?
Well, I don't know what the new charges are. I don't know what the issues are, but if they have amended it, they should have their reason why they amended it. It is also not to worry the defense, provided they are given adequate notice about what the new charges are, so that they will be able to present a strong defense. It is left to them to present the charges to the accused, so that he'll be able to defend himself. So if the government decides to increase the charge or reduce the number of counts of the charge, it is left to them. But the important thing is that whatever they accuse him of, he who alleges must prove. They have every duty to prove their allegation beyond all reasonable doubt.
Indeed.
Because this is a criminal trial. If they fail to do so, then Mr. Nnamdi Kanu should be let off the hook.
Okay.
And what is instructive, like my colleague in studio said, is I do not understand. I do not know why government has made this case such to generate such tension by the number of officers and men of SSS that are even more in number than the number of people who have come to court. So many lawyers. The courtroom is like the parlor of the lawyer. That is where the lawyers ply their trade, and that is where justice is dispensed. So if you deny a lawyer access to courtroom, that on itself is an offense.
Okay.
It is very offensive.
Okay,
to deny lawyers
we'll come back to you,
access
Fred.
courtrooms.
Yes, sir. We'll
Yes.
come back to you, Fred. You know, Jide, it's the attitude, the importance that the government is attaching to this process. No doubt that is evidenced by some of the things that are a bit, you know, unusual to the ordinary person. You have police, army, DSS, even NC and Nigerian security and civil defense. They're all there. And that's because I imagine one has to be careful about this, but as has already been said by Smart, the matter of jumping bail is going to be there. I don't know if to the extent to which they will go into how he was apprehended. I believe that his lawyers you know, also have issues with that. But the significance that government is attaching to this, is there a sense in which you can understand it? I know we can't comment on the details of the case because it's already in there.
Exactly. From the angle of the government and the level of insecurity in the country, I may want to align with all the efforts the government is putting in place to ensure sufficient security within the court premises. Don't forget that Nnamdi Kanu represents IPOB that has been proscribed by the government.
I was going to add that is a proscribed organization.
One of the new charges is that he even possesses, he brought in a radio transmitter that he declared as personal effect, and he has been inciting terrorism, you know, charges,
all of these are charges
that lead, you know, that lead in the direction of trying to secede from the nation. And again, don't forget that this case has taken ethnic coloration. You know, prominent leaders from the southeastern part of the country have been, you know, networking, lobbying the president on how to handle the matter. But basically, there are charges, there are criminal allegations against him. And like my colleague mentioned, the burden of proof is on the government, that is the prosecutor. And if they fail to prosecute him diligently, he will be left off the hook. And that's why in one of my expressions on this matter, I said that perhaps the high level of insecurity in the eastern part of the country was a forerunner to his being rearrested.
Okay.
You know, because the government, we need evidence, we need a lot of proof to pin him to those charges.
Okay. Let's, as you
the
said,
defense counsel also, we have to do a lot. But this case is almost becoming political in nature because it has been ethnicized by stakeholders. So it's as if an ethnic region is, and again, we have also mentioned the fact that you benchmark Nnamdi Kanu's agitations, what he represents, with the case of the bandits. But thank God, El Rufai is now canvassing that the bandits should be labeled as terrorists also. So it's a whole, ball game for the government to handle.
Yes, but I don't know if you missed it or not, or whether you saw the program. When we had the Minister of Information in here, he strived to make a distinction between the Nnamdi Kanu situation and that of terrorists and bandits. You can lump, if you want, terrorists and bandits together. He said that to one side, and he had made the Minister of Information had said, you recall that the bandits and terrorists, whatever you want to call them, they have no issue with the Nigerian flag. They are not taking on the Nigerian state. So to that extent, within that limited conversation we had on set here, he said he's at a loss to understand why people are trying to mix the two. But the producers tell me that counsel to Nnamdi Kanu arrives court alongside former governor of Anambra State, Chukwuemeka Ezeife. But when he was speaking, there were aspects of it that you were sort of nodding your head to as things that you sort of agreed with.
Yes, I agree with the fact that if the government had come up with additional charges, you must be able to prove the fact that this guy have committed these offenses, that they are not phantom allegations. Because on the other hand again, you find out that since Nnamdi Kanu was rearrested and brought into the country, the agitation by the IPOBs have heightened. Again, we must look at it in the fact that the government must be able to at least bring it that, because this guy have not had contact with any of these people that are agitating for IPOB today or the Eastern Security Network. He has not, since he came back since he was brought back to the country. I think what the government should do is that they should allow this course to run its full course. And again, by de-escalating, you see, as far as I know, with the security architecture in Abuja, it will be very difficult for anybody to come and say they want to come and rescue Nnamdi Kanu. They should reduce the tension. Again, they are creating additional tension with all this. Even the staff of Federal High Court, as we could see from their material video, they could not even get access to their place of work just because you are trying somebody. Okay. For goodness sake, you could just come up with a statement and say, look, if you don't have anything to do with the courts, please don't come.
Which I think is what the effort is.
You understand? Because, they should have even made a pronouncement that, well, either the judges or either the chief judge of Abuja High Court, whatever, we should have just made this thing that because of whatever, if you don't have anything to do with the court, please don't come to this area. Okay. And when they make such pronouncement, it will now be at your own risk if you don't have anything in the actual fact to do, and you say you want to go and watch Nnamdi Kanu proceeding. Okay.
You know, as we say, we have to tread very, very carefully. We're not in the business of analyzing the issues. That's in court already. But the event of Nnamdi Kanu, coming to the courtroom and some of the things surrounding it, we've noted the security, for instance, and the heightened security, and you've given your impressions about that. Okay, Fred, you're also in there. As soon as we know, we'll be able to say if when he arrives in court. But the point has been made that, why like people have been wondering why the authorities have deemed it fit to show this level of show of force, so to speak. That it's one thing. You understand, of course, you being a lawyer yourself, that we're not interested. That is to say, we can't even go into the matters that will be considered by the court. That's their business here. But the external part of it, that which we are seeing, which is he couldn't appear the last time, it looks like he will be appearing this time. In fact, it is said that lawyers, as you've just heard, lawyers are having a tough time identifying whether or not they have anything to do there. Talk about that, if you will.
Before I talk about that, I take very strong exception to any statement that tries to juxtapose Nnamdi Kanu or the IPOB with the bandits or terrorists. Any such statement is a statement made out of mala fide, as we call it in law. Statement made up out of ill will. IPOB, for the obtained time, is not a terrorist organization. I am bold to say this because federal government knows that they are not. The fact that federal government has mounted and tagged IPOB terrorist organization is a clear expression of injustice against a people who are simply agitating for self-determination, which is their guaranteed right in all known laws around the world.
Yeah.
We cannot say this
Fred,
enough. We cannot say this enough. So if anybody begins to, I'm coming. If anybody begins to look at the IPOB,
I don't know that the federal government,
Nnamdi Kanu,
I don't know that the federal government, what I recalled was,
if anybody begins to look at Nnamdi Kanu with the same eye that they look at bandits, that person should re-examine his thoughts.
Well,
if you are talking about,
can I just come in there? Can I just come in there, Fred? The point that I made was that I recall that a minister had said that there's no reason to compare the two, that there are two separate types, so to speak. And the reference to bandits terrorism is like, separate that to one side. And the point had been made that the charges that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu will be facing, I don't think they have to do with that. They might be dealing with sedition, treason, this whole matter about the Nigerian state and taking on, in the eyes of the federal authorities, the Nigerian state. No bandit or terrorist has done that. So I just wanted to clarify that that's the context in which those words even came into play.
Those are pedestrian arguments, Yuri. Very, very pedestrian. And of course, coming from a minister of information, it's obvious that he's misinforming the public and misinforming the international community. Nobody is a child. Even if anybody is a child, nobody is a baby. What Nnamdi Kanu represents is very clear to Nigeria and very clear to the rest of the world. What he's asking for is very known and very clear. The understanding of government and the way government handles it is a different ball game. Don't forget that that does not make government correct. The fact that government is the accuser or alleging whatever they feel they will have to allege because the government has the instrument of coercion and instrument of force does not make government correct. What is correct is justice. The only thing that is correct in this whole matter is justice.
And that's what the courts are for. That is why that Fred is the business of the court. Starting from today, that, Fred, is the business that the court will be, going into from today.
And that is why many people are interested. That's why many people troop the place to ensure that he comes to court. And as at now, if he has not come to court, what does that tell you? Is government doing well? If the government is not doing well, we should be bold enough to tell the government that it is not doing well. And I keep saying and I keep repeating that government is not handling this matter in the most appropriate way that will enhance unity, cohesion of the state. What is important is that when matters like this happen in every environment, in every human environment, we should look at justice. We should not look at, justice does not look at the face or the tribe or mark on anybody. Justice is direct and straightforward. We should look at justice.
But don't you have, Fred, I hear you. Yes. I hear what you're saying. I was just going to ask, Fred, you yourself are an, what do you lawyers say, an officer in the temple of justice. Don't you have faith in the courts that that exactly is what they're going to be looking into? Never mind what the federal government or any other party thinks, the court will be looking into the very issues that you are pointing out. That is the situation.
I have faith. I have robust faith in the court. I have robust faith in the court, but government does not seem to have faith in the court. Well, most Nigerians have faith in the court system, because if government had faith in the court system, there is no reason why government should be behaving the way it is behaving, creating and militarizing the whole court environment. Don't forget that even in advanced countries, guns are not expected to be seen within the precincts of the court.
Okay.
But today, there is no difference between our court environment and the military barracks.
All right.
That is what we must let government to know.
That's your impression. That's your impression, Fred. And you have, the right to the impression, but it isn't necessarily factual. But you heard the way he put it. That's what the courts are for. Fred has expressed himself that he feels the federal government is not going about this in the right way. But if Nnamdi Kanu is coming to court, as a lawyer, I think lawyers have to depend and trust in the courts to be able to separate the issues. Courts have been known to rule against governments,
Yes, I believe also that this is a reflection of the failure we have recorded in the security sector. So the government right now is agitated and apprehensive of the case not getting out of hand. And if, for example, we have managed the policing aspect of it, the security aspect of it effectively, as it could have been done in Australia, in Germany, in Italy, maybe it should be different. All right, and that is why you see the whole DSS being mobilized, because people are angry, people are agitated. You cannot tell to what extent they will react or respond. We can liken also this, you recall the case of El-Zazaki also. And that is why we are advising the government. I do not see any big deal in this matter. Instead of making it a protracted case, if you have your allegations and you are sure of your evidence, go ahead, prosecute, come to a conclusion. But that, again, is like a time bomb. What conclusion do you come to? So let's try to keep the gate right now.
Look,
imagine that at the end of the day, Nnamdi Kanu is, for example, found, guilty, convicted, and jailed. The ethno approach to it will be escalated. So I think even beyond the legalistic approach, can we sit down as a nation, look at the motto of this country: unity and faith, peace and progress. Yes. So how can we achieve this? So that the agitations that even get back to IPOB and all this,
all of that is fine. All of that is fine, but I don't think those are issues that the court is going to go into.
The court will focus on this, but they touch on justice.
I hear you.
Preventive justice.
But the Mazi Nnamdi Kanu will be appearing in court today, and that is our focus. There are legal implications of all of this. We can't go into the politics of it. We can't go into certain other issues so as not to be what you people refer to as sub judice.
But may I ask a question, Uncle Yori?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, what about if these issues I have mentioned come to play? If someone comes up to begin to look at what is the tribe of the judge that is handling this case? We have issues in this country, and that's why some of us are looking beyond the present case to say, let's go back to the Constitution.
Yes.
Let's look at what holds us together as a people.
But just about everybody is also saying Nnamdi Kanu has to have his day in court.
Absolutely, yes. That's why we have the court system.
Thank you very much.
And even the global community is saying, make sure in approaching it that you allow justice to prevail. Simple.
That's why you've said you are trusting. Fred Nzeakor has said he is trusting of the courts.
Definitely, I have absolute confidence in the Nigerian judicial system.
Yeah, exactly.
Having said that, you see, I want to deviate a little bit. And I want to deviate to the fact that the federal government can de-escalate this tension of agitation by engaging.
That is agitation away from this case? You're talking other aspects?
See, what we want to do is that was why I said I want to deviate a little bit. Look, let us douse the tension currently going on about this IPOB whatever by engaging the so-called the agitators. I don't want look, the IPOB, they are there.
Okay, this is extra, as it were, to the issue of today.
Yes.
Well, you know what? Let's take a break, because I want us to stay on focus. I want us to stay on the event that is being reported today, which is that Nnamdi Kanu is to have his day in court and will be arriving shortly, and that will be what is, because I don't want us to go into areas that people can say this is sub judice. You can't be looking at the issues that the court itself will be looking into. So stay with us, please. We'll be right back, and we'll include your calls. Okay, welcome back, and we have Mr. Jide Ologun, Mr. Smart Oluwoye Apejoye, and Mr. Fred Okey Nzeakor. Fred, you still with us? Okay,
yes,
good morning,
here.
Fred.
I'm with you.
Yeah. So,
good morning, I'm with you.
Yeah. Well, indeed, Nnamdi Kanu has pleaded not guilty to the amended charge. And so that's that. There's also the whole issue. I'm just looking at it as it is tripping out. And after taking the plea, counsel to Mr. Nnamdi Kanu moved an application for him to be transferred to Kuje Correctional Center. And, so far, I just have to be careful. I don't believe that has been accepted. But, so at least that goes to answer the question that you had posed earlier, that you don't know if he has arrived in court. Yes, he has been, he has pleaded not guilty to the charge. He's appeared before Justice Binta.
Yes, when an accused pleads not guilty to any charge, that sets the tone for trial.
Yes.
In which case, the accuser will now present his case. In this case, federal government will now, through the SSS, will now present their case, and then the defendant will now defend himself. That is the process.
Indeed.
And that is what it
But
is.
there's still the issue talking about the court. There's still the issue talking about the court. I'm looking at my notes here that, you know, he appeared before Justice Binta Nnzeakor. Operatives of the Department of State Services have refused to allow even a single journalist inside the courtroom. So that's, you guys were talking about the seriousness with which this was taken. So that's, just to quickly summarize, Nnamdi Kanu has pleaded not guilty. He has, his lawyer has, you know, requested that he, you know, his detention facility be adjusted. I don't know that the court has allowed that. So that's where we are now. Your concern as a lawyer is whether or not he has even arrived in court. Yes, he has, and he has pleaded not guilty to the amended 7-count charge. And as I said,
yes, it's good to hear that. The next thing will now be for the trial to be accelerated. As a matter of fact, the Administration of Criminal Justice Act 2015 has made provision copiously for accelerated trial in matters like this. So the SSS should step up its ante and ensure that they do not throw spanner in the works, and ensure that they do not delay the process of trial.
Okay.
Like my colleague there said, it is important that this matter.
Okay, it's frozen, but I can just add that after taking his plea, to say that again, after taking the plea, counsel to Mr. Nnamdi Kanu, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, has moved an application for him to be transferred to the Kuje Correctional Center. And I don't have the exact details about this, but there was something, I think, also about a request that 3 people, you know, should be allowed to visit with Mr. Kanu. So that's what we have. I think there have been matters where Nnamdi Kanu's lawyer had complained that access to him was difficult. So I think all of this was now put before the judge. The Kuje, you know, going to Kuje
Correctional Center.
Yes. That's what the, you know, the defendant himself. But you see, at the end of the day, it's a matter of what? National security, national integrity, because the Nigerian state is in the focus
very volatile
of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and his proscribed organization.
Right now, what will happen is that many who are suspecting or rolling out rumors that something could have happened to Nnamdi Kanu, they must have seen him brought to court now.
Yeah.
And the next thing is now that he has pleaded not guilty, then you proceed with the trial. And with a high-profile personality like his, the government can also, you know, deploy all their arsenals to ensure accelerated prosecution.
In fact, I'm just seeing here that, well, that application was made, but the court has denied the application. He's to stay with the DSS. 3 visitors of his choice can visit him in custody. Actually, the matter has been adjourned until the 10th of November. Just so we
okay, 10th of November is close enough.
It's just around the corner. It's just around the corner.
And like you know, in the interest of peace in the country, in the interest of patriotism and different elements of being together as a nation, give this prosecution the best it deserves and go ahead and prosecute, come to a conclusion, and you know, we can move on. But having said that, also, we should not in any way roll under the carpet the issues that are prompting agitations in this country.
Yeah,
in
but
any part of the country.
I know, but I don't want us to bring that conversation because you're a lawyer, you understand.
We are just advising. You know, it does not touch on what is happening in court,
that really is not our story. Our story today is not is national security and integrity. And Nnamdi Kanu is in court. He has been in court. He has pleaded not guilty. He's to stay with the DSS. 3 visitors of his choice can visit him in DSS. And we've said earlier that the matter has been adjourned until the 10th of November. Okey Nzeakor, coming over to you. That's what I have now in terms of bullet points. Very satisfactory to you, I'm sure, as an officer in the Temple of Justice.
Well, I cannot say very satisfactory because naturally, once somebody takes his plea in court, the person is sent to a correctional center. This is a very exceptional case where the accuser is still left in the hands of the accused is still left in the hands of his accusers. It is to so many people, it is an aberration.
Okay, let me add to you what lawyer Nnamdi Kanu's lawyers are saying. The matter, the lawyers of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu are actually challenging the competency of the suit. It was also adjourned because the lawyers for Kanu are challenging the competence of the DSS to bring this suit. That's Nnamdi Kanu's lawyers.
Well, we had earlier said that we are not going to go into the nitty-gritty of the matter.
No, but this was in open court. It's not nitty-gritty. This is open court.
I know, but that is for the defense counsel to chart their way forward towards the defense of their client. They know the reason why they did so, and then in the course of time, the reasons will be x-rayed, and the court will look into that.
Indeed.
My own position now is that I feel grossly disappointed that the court has granted the SSS custody of Nnamdi Kanu. That is an aberration as far as I'm concerned.
But 3 visitors of his choice can visit him now.
I align myself with the position of the defense counsel that applied that he be kept in correctional center. They did not even ask that he be granted bail, but they said he should be sent to the correctional center. It is a kind of infringement and a kind of an aberration that the accused will be left in the hands of the accuser. These are all agencies of government. The correctional center is established for this purpose. It is not the duty of the SSS to still keep him in custody when they are the ones that are bringing him to court. And I would like to add that in the next adjourned date, the lawyers will continue to press that he be taken away from the custody of SSS and be kept in correctional center where other people are kept after taking their plea in court.
Okay, sure. One also noticing that when Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, arrived in court and was seen in court, well, apart from the perhaps irrelevant matter of his having put on a bit of weight, he was not in handcuffs or in shackles of any form.
Well, first, we must also perhaps commend the SSS for doing that. They are beginning to at least bow to pressure. If somebody is in your custody and you are bringing him, he has not demonstrated any form of violence, why handcuffing him?
No. Well, so you are saying that you see reason, because the point I made was that he was not handcuffed, he was not shackled.
Very fantastic.
And even though it might be slightly irrelevant to the case, they observed that he had actually put on weight. In other words,
of course he will put on weight.
He was not under stress. Apart from the normal stress of having a charge over your head.
within the room.
Okay.
He cannot jog. He cannot do all those. He cannot engage.
The respect that the authorities are according the defendant is the point here.
And
because there are people who have put certain things on the federal government in terms of their attitude.
No, but I think bringing him in court today with a bit douse the tension that, oh, this guy is sick, this guy is dead, this guy is whatever. At least it will bring down that tension a little bit. But I think also they should have, if the moment the DSS have presented him and the case is in court, it should have been returned to the correction facility and not to the DSS facility. Okay. Because that is
they have allowed. I hear what you're saying.
That is the common thing.
I know. But I'm saying that does it make any difference that they've now said that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, 3 visitors of your own.
It is not even proper again to say, because they should allow him to, if his family wants to come and visit him, they should have the liberty to go and visit him, even though he's in protective custody. I think again narrowing it down to 3 is also not
okay.
It's also not good enough.
Because defendants have been known to be able to receive much more than that.
One of these governorship aspirants is approaching the court to seek permission to visit him in DSS custody. I think
that's one of those that he will choose.
I'm going to see if I can play a video. They're looking at it, the technical aspects to it. I'm not saying we can play a video of Nnamdi Kanu in court that I was talking about. As we continue with this conversation, we'll see if we can do that. It's just a few seconds, but I think
the application is subject to the discretion of the court.
Yes.
And the court would have looked into the credit of the request before denying or granting. And talking about the weight he has put on, that may be subject to medical tests to be sure whether that weight is healthy or not, because like you mentioned, being confined to an environment. And I hope that the reputational status of the confinement in DSS must have improved, because it was like going to hell. The impression in the past that you are in the hands of DSS,
it's like a gulag sort of a thing.
So, and we all just need to come to the point where we start doing the right things, whether we are trying to establish justice or whatever, and be sure that we remove everything that can spring up agitation, But Uncle Yori has given us a
has made it a no-go area.
Is it not me? Is it me or
because,
the intention?
This will prevent the waste of resources on cases like this, and just make us to move on the path of prosperity.
It's a very important case. Okay, coming back to you, because you are remote and we don't want to, out of sight is not out of mind. Okay, we're just about to go, but I'm trying to see if I can, we can play a little video that we have of Nnamdi Kanu arriving in court. The point has been made that he was in court. He has pleaded guilty, not guilty. He has pleaded not guilty to the matter. And I think his lawyer has also asked for that his client be transferred to a correctional center. I don't think that was allowed by the court, but that's what we have for now. If we can get the video, I think most people would like to see. It's a little video, but even if it is 10, 15 seconds, it will show what we're talking about. He was not shackled in any way, shape, or form. As I said, just as we're, going, about to go, I'll still see if we can play that particular video. But
while you are looking for the video to play,
yes,
I want to say emphatically that it is not a favor that he was not shackled. It would have been a breach of his right that he is shackled. It is also a breach of his right.
Nobody mentioned that it was a favor. They just stated it as a matter of course. Nobody said as a matter of favor. Just as a matter of course, we mentioned it.
So that nobody should see it as a favor that he was not shackled. In a civil court, an accused should not be brought to court in shackles. It was a case of Ghanaian against federal government that had long been settled. That you should not bring an accused to court, a civil court, in shackles. So it's not a favor. Okay. And it is also, I want to disagree with the court by limiting the number of people that will visit him, because what the court has done is to treat Nnamdi Kanu differently from other people that are facing equal trial, similar trial in the competent court of law. So I would like to join the judge.
Okay, let me see. I'll take a pardon. Let me see if I can play that video now, if we can play that video now. So there you are. It's a little clip. No doubt there'll be more on TVC News as we go on through the day. But that was Nnamdi Kanu arriving in court. It looks, as well as can be in the circumstances. No shackles, which Fred has said that's not a favor. Nobody said it was. But we're saying the attitude and that picture, sorry, not arriving in court. That was after the case had been adjourned to the 10th of November. Fred, Okey Nzeakor, like signing out with you. Any last words, please, before we let go totally?
Kindly tell the federal government of Nigeria to ensure that justice to one is justice to all.
Okay, Fred, I'm going to have to leave it
justice
there. Because you have just done what you asked me to do for you. Thank God for killing two birds with one stone. As you were telling me, you were also telling the federal government. Guys, we're going to leave this. But as I said, TVC News is going to be on this. And as developments, as the story is developed, no doubt you'll be getting proper analysis of it. Staying on the straight and narrow of the case itself. I want to thank you very much, Smart Oluwoye Apejoye, political affairs analyst, and I don't know why you're smiling, but I'm happy you're smiling. You could have been worse. You could have been frowning. Jide Ologun, lawyer and public affairs analyst, thank you very much, sir, as well.
God bless Nigeria.
And once more, thanks to Barrister Fred Okey Nzeakor, lawyer and public affairs analyst. That's our program today. Please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I'm Yori Folarin. Bye-bye for now.